right, back at y'all with another sports update. Raaj Bundles. We got Reid, Adrian in the building. Fellas, what's up?
Yo.
Another show, another show. So today we got the opening night of the NHL. And very highly anticipated season. You got the first overall pick, Connor Bedard, tonight out there for Chicago. But yeah, we definitely want to get it started up with the Wings. We got the Wings. They got their first game this Thursday against the Devils. Last year, 35-37, outside looking in, didn't make the playoffs. So, Reid, what is your expectations for this Red Wings team? Are you expecting them to get to the playoffs?
Yeah, I definitely think that they were – obviously they got better in the offseason, adding DeBrincat and a couple of other veterans. I know probably some of the these first-round draft picks that they have are going to be playing here soon. So, I think they are going to get better. I definitely think that they're a team almost made it last year. They had kind of crumbled the last couple of games, but they definitely were in the hunt at one point. I think 3 points out or 5 points out, something like that. So, I mean, they're in a pretty easy division, so I could see them doing it this year. Again, adding DeBrincat on that line with Larkin and and Kopp or some of those other guys. I know Raymond's probably going to get moved to another line now, but I mean, you add a 40-goal scorer, that's going to help improve any team.
For sure. Yeah. I'm expecting playoffs, man. What is it? 35 wins last year, 80 points. 10 more wins this year could probably get you in the playoffs. About 45 wins.
Yeah.
90 points. I think they can get there. This is year 4 of Stevie Y. And I'm expecting this team to make some noise this year. I'm expecting playoffs. I don't think it should be anything less. You got a nice young nucleus. You got Sider, you got Raymond, you got Larkin. You made the trade for Petrie from Montreal, the Michigander, brought him back. So yeah, I'm expecting.
Larkin's a Michigander and DeBrincat is Michigan. They all played at Michigan together, so those guys are going to have some chemistry hopefully on this line, you know. And excuse me if I keep looking over here to the right. I'm watching this Bedard game. I'm interested to see. So, but yeah, sorry, Roger, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you good. Yeah, 35 wins last year. I'm expecting at least 10 more this year. 10 more points. I'm expecting playoffs at this year. You got a nice young nucleus. I think it's playoff for bust for the Wings this year. At this stage, it's no excuses at this point. They should make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Eiserman did say though he said that right before when the preseason started, he said the season is not playoffs or bust, which I totally disagree with that that comment. I think he's trying to temper the expectations because he doesn't want the pressure on them. But if you look at what they did, like I said, with the DeBrincat trade is good, and they added some goal punch, like a lot of depth to get some more goal scorers. You got JT Comper, Christian Fletcher, Daniel Sprung, David Perron, Larkin, and DeBrincat. I think are going to have really good seasons. So if they can up their game, I expect the Red Wings to compete for that 8th spot, because if you look at the division they were in last year, 3 teams I believe are out of it already: Buffalo, Ottawa, and Montreal. And then you still got Boston, Florida, who's the Stanley Cup runner-ups, and Tampa Bay, who's always solid. So I definitely think that they can make a run in that Atlantic division, but got to at least compete for that 7th, 8th seed. You can't be 9th, 10th again, man. He's been trying to build this too long. Enough is enough for me. So it's got to be playoffs or bust for me, like you guys said.
I think with the addition of those veterans, like you said, Adrian, it's going to be pretty big. My only concern really, which I hope maybe it can be fixed in the season or it is fixed now, is the goaltending. Yep. That scared me the most recently. I don't know if Kosa's just not panning out. That first round Swede they picked as a goaltender. But yeah, they need some help back there. Speaking of Tampa just beat Nashville tonight 5-3. So they're continuing to look like a playoff team again. They have the best goalie in the NHL, and back in their net. So I need to see what's going to happen with the goaltenders. Hopefully they can keep up. You need to you can't allow more than two goals a game. That's too tough. You know what I mean? I mean sometimes you can let them slip by, but you got to average 2.5 goals to be a really solid goalie in the NHL. 2.5, 3 might be pushing it, but they need help back there.
Yeah, absolutely. You got the Wings at Jersey Thursday, 7:30. Jersey's 1.5 point favorite in that game. Reid, who do you like in that game?
As much as I want to say the Wings, just because it's the Detroit team, New Jersey's one of the best teams in the NHL right now. So If they come out firing, maybe they can do well. Bucks on net wins a lot of games. So hopefully they can do something. But New Jersey might just be too much of a juggernaut. I mean, they were a playoff team last year, so I would probably take New Jersey money line, goal and a half. But I don't know if I'd take that.
I'm gonna agree with you. I think New Jersey's still talented from last year. They got Hersher, they got Jack Hughes, former Michigan guy. I just think they're just progressively better right now, and I do pick them to beat the Wings. But this will be a good test for a young Red Wings team, and let's see how they fare. But I do believe Jersey will get the W on Thursday night.
Yeah, I think Jersey beats them as well. That's going to be Jersey's home opener. I think the Wings will get their first win on their home opener on their ice, but yeah, I think they're going to lose this game. So yeah, Thursday 7:30, New Jersey. We'll definitely be watching for sure. All right, let's switch it over to college football here. We got new allegations came out as far as Mel Tucker in MSU, the former fired head football coach. A judge has prohibited more text messages coming out that he has from his accuser. This whole situation is just messy. It's ugly. So, Adrian, where are you at with this whole Mel Tucker and MSU situation?
I just think it's like you said, it's just messy, man. It's getting out of hand. It's she said, he said, but at the end of the day, it's a little too late from now as far as the Michigan State thing, because they've already fired him for show cause. But where this went wrong is just I'm gonna just say this: at the end of the day, we all know that the rules don't mix business with pleasure, and I just think he got himself in trouble, even engaging in that. And no matter what happened, it just you can't go back from here. So it's just, I always think it's a place where you got to wait for the facts to come out. And if he was falsely accused, then hey, she should face some trouble. But we like I said, we still don't know everything yet. I just think we're at a wait and see moment at this time. But it's just, like I said, messy.
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird when I saw this. I didn't really get into reading too much of it. I know that they just said don't release any more of the text messages. We've seen this already happen once before with a professional athlete and Trevor Bauer from the Los Angeles Dodgers, who ended up getting released, and now he's over in the Japanese baseball league. So, I mean, he didn't actually do any of it. That was all fake. Whether Mel engaged in anything with this, with his accuser, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy that something like this can, over the money that can maybe ruin a man's career. Now, do I think that Mel Tucker is innocent? No, but I also don't think he should be back. I think it's just a big stain on Michigan State still, and they might actually have to pay more money now. But we'll have to wait until the court proceedings happen. But yeah, I think this new evidence might allow Tucker to get a little bit more money from the school.
Yeah, it's going to be an ugly situation, man. It's messy. We're definitely going to keep hearing about it. We're going to see how the whole situation unfolds. And yeah, it just seems like MSU's football program is definitely trending down. They're in the whirlwind right now. So yeah, sticking with college football here. We had the Red River rivalry this past Saturday. We had a good one. Oklahoma, Texas. Oklahoma ended up winning 34-30 in the shootout last second. They pulled it out. So Reid, Dylan Gabriel pulling this off, winning this game, would you put him in Heisman contention right now?
I mean, they're up to 5, aren't they, in the AP poll or something like that, or 6? I think they're
5.
Yeah, 5. So, I mean, it's possible. I don't know if I would put him in contention. I'd probably put him in the top 7 or 8 guys that you could maybe send there. I still would like to see more. I mean, that was a fantastic win. That last drive was just all Texas. Not burning a timeout to slow them down, allowing big plays. Texas was just crumbling. The offense couldn't get anything going. I know that they had I think they had an injured center. Their starting center was injured for Texas, so that could be, hurt, but injuries happen in football. I don't know if he's Heisman contention, like I said, maybe 7 or 8. A few guys you could put ahead of him, but that was a huge win for him, and it definitely makes him look good. And Oklahoma, Oklahoma could be a scary bowl contending team, but I don't know if they're going to make it to the college football playoff.
Yeah, they got a very favorable schedule.
Yeah.
I do believe these two teams will match up again in the Big 12, in the Big 12 title game. I think Texas will ultimately come up on top. What this showed me is Oklahoma is vastly improved defensively. You can see they're much better on defense physically. had Quinier's 5 sacks, 2 picks, or it was 3 picks, I believe. But they're just running around with this Brent Venables defense. It just showed me that they're much improved now. National title contender, I won't say that yet. You can put Gabriel in the Heisman conversation, but as far as the leaderboard, no, I won't say that. It's a little too early for that. But I was very impressed with Oklahoma. Brent Venables got his first big win in program as a coach, so I think he takes a little pressure off him and they can play a little more free. But Dylan Gabriel had played his career game and got the win, and we know this game is always crazy. I still think Texas is good, but we got to hold the horses on our Texas is back thing because everybody's so quick to judge. But I do think Texas is still a really good team, but it's just that goes to show you with this rivalry game, anything can happen, and that's what happened, guys. Guys step up and make plays, but shout out to Oklahoma for getting the job done. And I didn't bet on the game, and I stayed away from it, so I would have took Oklahoma with the points, but everybody was on the Texas bandwagon. It just, like I said, it goes to show you.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. We got Ack in the building. Axis, that was a good game. They kept the rivalry alive, for sure.
I mean, Texas was like a touchdown. 6.5 points was Texas was favored by. So, I mean, I honestly took Texas. I know a lot of the money was probably going with Texas. I put it as part of my parlay, which was the only leg that didn't hit, obviously, which is unfortunate. But I thought they would at least win by a touchdown because I did think Texas was a little bit better team. But like you said, I mean, neutral site, big rivalry game, anything can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And with Texas, with that loss, moved down to number 9 in the AP poll. But they were still ahead of USC. USC was at 10, Texas was at 9, and USC is undefeated. So, Adrian, do you have a problem with the AP putting Texas in front of USC?
Not at all. As we've watched the last couple of weeks, this SC team is just getting by the skin of their teeth. They should have lost this game. They should have lost to Colorado. It just feel like as the season's going on, the defense is getting worse and worse. And I know as good as Caleb is, you just can't expect him to be perfect all the time. And we got a very big game this weekend with USC traveling to Notre Dame, which I will believe Notre Dame will pick itself up and get a victory against a USC team who's gets worse and worse on defense. I think it's just a Lincoln Riley thing. I know we can fire Alex Grinch, but look good. He left Oklahoma, and now their defense is better than when he was there. So, I mean, offense is good, but defensively, USC is they're gonna falter. It's just not a matter of if; it's a matter of when.
Yeah, I agree. USC's defense does not look good in any game that they play. It doesn't seem like they can stop anybody, or they just – it almost like – I know they're not doing it, but it almost seems like they just want the other team to score fast so they can get Caleb Williams back out on the field and, like, look like Superman. I know that's not what's going on, but it's what it looks like to me. I do think this Notre Dame the Notre Dame defense is better than the USC defense, so they get a few key stops. I think they can win. And like Adrian said, they need to pick themselves up. You can't have 2 losses and expect to make it into the college football playoff. You can have 2 and potentially make it, but you need a lot of other things to go wrong for other teams. So I think they can do it because I think their defense is a little bit better than USC's. But yeah, man, that USC team just does not look formidable on defense at all.
Yeah. So Reid, you think Texas still has a chance of getting into the playoff?
With one loss, possibly. I mean, we all know that names play kind of a role in how they do the AP poll in the college football playoff. For that to happen, you need if Michigan loses to Penn State or Ohio State loses to Penn State or Michigan, you know, one of those things happens. Florida State loses to a Duke or something coming up, or you know, another ranked opponent. You could see it happening. One loss doesn't necessarily knock you out, but you do need to have a lot of things go your way to get back into it.
Absolutely. And then Oklahoma's remaining schedule, I want to pull that up real quick because they do have a very favorable schedule.
I will say really quickly about the AP poll. We've seen it, and I obviously griped about it a few times when Florida State has dropped down they dropped down to 5 and 6, I think, at one point, or 5, and then now they're back up to 4. They're the only team that I think is like that happened to. Granted, they were close games, but Oklahoma moving up that many spaces after beating Texas is pretty crazy, and not moving up like a Penn State or someone ahead of them. I mean, I get it; it's a big win, but if you're counting big wins that substantially, then I'm sorry, like Ohio State they beat Notre Dame, but Ohio State and Michigan and Georgia probably should all drop if that's the case, because those teams haven't beat anybody big.
Yeah. Oklahoma's remaining schedule. They got a bye week this weekend. Then they got UCF at home, at Kansas. Kansas is ranked 23. At Oklahoma State, West Virginia at home, at BYU, and then they close the season out at home against TCU. So they could potentially run the table. So,
yeah, I don't think they're beat. I don't think they're losing to anybody on that. The best game there sounds like Kansas. Kansas played a hell of a game last week.
We got to see if Jalen Daniels will be ready for that game. He's been out the last couple of games.
Yeah,
I know they boat raced UCF, but that would be the key in that game. And we talk about the AP poll, but the AP poll is it's all over the place, man. When it's college football rankings come out, then it'll really matter the most. And wouldn't this be a great year for us to have the 12-team playoff starting this year, with all the parity going on in college football right now? So this would be the perfect year. I mean, I know we're a year away, but like we talked about, anybody can win this national championship this year. So it's a coin flip right now.
Absolutely. I agree. All right, well, let's get into our picks for this weekend's games. So MSU is at Rutgers this Saturday at noon. Where are we at? Okay, here we go.
Underdog.
Yeah, Rutgers is a 5.5 point favorite in this game, Reid. So do you think Rutgers covers, or do you think Michigan State can cover that 5.5?
It's like, does anybody know? Nobody's going to watch this game, right? I don't think even Michigan State fans will probably watch this game.
Mike Vellini even said he's not watching it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the real question is Rico going to watch it, because we all know Rico is the man in the. But 5.5 is. I think Michigan State will stay close enough to cover. I don't think they're going to. I mean, they're bad. Can they be that bad? I'm gonna take Michigan State in the points. I feel like they can hold on.
I tried to give them the benefit of doubt against Iowa, even though I did take Iowa to win the game. But, geez, Noah Kim is just so bad. And I thought Caden Hauser was going to win that job. He was a highly touted quarterback recruit. But if he can't beat Noah Kim, then that just tells me, how good it is. And I thought I would get an inspired performance against Washington, but no. Rutgers is actually not a bad football team. They played decently well against Wisconsin team last week. They lost. But give me Rutgers and give me them by a touchdown.
MSU's coming out the bye week. I think they'll be a little more focused, a little more rested up. I think they lose this game, but I do think they cover that 5.5 points. I'm gonna take Rutgers by a field goal here. Give me Rutgers for the win, but give me Michigan State to cover the points.
That's what I was thinking, Raj. Exactly. Field goal.
Yeah, for sure. Adrian, I'm gonna throw it right back at you. We got Indiana at Michigan at the Big House at noon. Michigan's a 33.5 point favorite in that game. They have covered the last 2 weeks. So can Michigan cover this 33.5 points Saturday?
If they're playing like they have the last 2 weeks, then absolutely. Because we thought Nebraska and Minnesota were bad. We know Indiana's been at the bottom of the barrel in the Big Ten my lifetime. I can remember they've had a couple of good years, but I do say if Michigan plays like they want to, I say they'll steamboat Indiana as well. So yeah, I'll say Michigan covers.
I mean, they have covered the last 2 weeks, but maybe they could get up so far that they just put. I think last week they put in like 73 of the 75 guys on the roster or something.
Except for I believe a long snapper. I believe was a guy they didn't put in.
Should have just put him in, man. Just give him a shot. Come on, but 33.5 is. I mean, it no matter. Indiana's not great, but no matter how. That's a lot of points, man. They've done it before, but from what I've seen so far against like a Bowling Green and some of these other teams they played and didn't cover, 33.5 is just too much for my blood. So I wouldn't take them to cover this. As bad as Indiana even is, I don't know. Something in me just doesn't want to take it.
Yeah. I mean, look, Michigan's at home. It's going to be a noon game. The Big House is going to be loud. It's going to be rocking. They covered the last 2 weeks. Indiana has no chance in this game. I think they blow them out. I'm gonna go ahead and say Michigan covers the third week in a row. They covered the 33.5 points. I mean, hey, they beat Minnesota 52-10. They beat them by 42 points last week. So I think they can do this.
Two pick sixes too. So defense scored more points than Minnesota scored on offense. So
right. So yeah, I think this could be a beatdown just like it was last week, and I think Michigan could cover. Now, at what point do they pull the starters and McCarthy and those boys? we'll have to see. I think that'll determine as well, but I don't think this game's going to be close. I think they cover. So
which is crazy is he hasn't played a fourth quarter this entire season, which is a crazy stat, and the fact that Michigan has had a team get inside their 10 the entire season, which is even more mind-boggling to me. I know they haven't played the best competition, but that's a wild stat to me.
yeah.
Sorry, the Blackhawks were on a power play, so I was watching Bedard. He didn't score. But yeah, that's true. They have, I mean, those are crazy stats. I don't know. I'm not believing in a lot of Michigan teams, and because when they make it to the playoff or the championship, it generally doesn't go well. My true test about Michigan is going to be next season's schedule.
Oh yeah, it's crazy
because they could honestly win it this year, and if they won it this year, I mean, more power to them. I'm not going to say that they didn't deserve it because, like you said, anybody can win it. But I think that next year is going to show the true potential when they have to play Texas and the USCs and Oregons and everything like that. So, yeah,
for sure.
Like we did talk about real quick though, I will say from watching these games over the weekend, I definitely think Ohio State is really flawed, especially on the offensive line because they cannot run the football. So I did have them over Penn State, but right now as I'm looking at it, watch these games, and I know Penn State had a bye week, I'll say Penn State's a better football team right now. So
okay. All right. Well, we got a big game this Saturday. You got number 8 Oregon at number 7 Washington. Washington, a 2.5-point favorite in this game. Adrian, who do you like in that one?
What's the favorite? What is Washington 3.5? You said
2.5.
2.5. They're telling you that's a pick 'em almost. So
yeah,
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go with Bo Nix in Oregon. I'm gonna take Bo Nix in Oregon. They got to redeem themselves last year, especially after they blew the game with some of the terrible play calling. Bo Nix wasn't healthy all the way, but I believe with Oregon's explosiveness, Washington hasn't seen a team like this year. I know Michael Penix threw for over 300 at least every game this season. They got away last week in a nail-biter against Arizona. But give me Oregon. I guess you can say this is upset since they're on the road, but give me the Oregon Ducks to pull this out. I'm not the biggest Bo Nix fan, but he's been playing great, and this team is gonna get a staple win this year. So give me Oregon Ducks.
Yeah, I'm not going to go with Oregon because I'm not a big Bo Nix believer, and I know that. I mean, Adrian just said he's not even really a big Bo Nix believer, but Washington's fans come to play, man, especially when it's a big home game. So Michael Penix is looking like the Heisman front runner as of right now. I think he is going to come out in this game and show what he can do. And I think he's going to top. I think he's going to end up beating Oregon and. I don't know. I've seen watching them at home too many times over the last 2 years. I like Washington to win at home.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Washington in those 2.5 points. I think this is gonna be a very high scoring game. The over under for this one is 67.5. I like the over. 2 high power offenses, but I think Penix keeps his Heisman campaign going, and I'm going to Washington Huskies at home in this game. I like them to cover the 2.5 in the shootout.
That's a lot of points. 67.
That's a lot of points. It's a lot of points, but I think
there'll be a little defense play. There'll be some defense play in this game.
I don't know if I could take 67.
That's a lot of points. That is, I say contrary to the fact I think these teams are decent on defense. I do like the under on that. So if we're gonna bet on that, that's something to look at. But I will have to watch the game on my phone, fellas, because I will be at a wedding, unfortunately. So I have to be looking out.
Me too. You going the same one I have?
Hey, having Peacock's gonna come in handy for you now.
Yes,
I don't know if I'll be able to watch it. I have to officiate the wedding I'm at.
Nah, I'm just there, so I'll be watching.
Okay, we got a couple wedding crashers this weekend. Okay, all right, last game here, Reid. You guys. Well, we already talked about it. You got number 10 USC at number 21 Notre Dame. Notre Dame's a 2.5 point favorite in that game. Reid, how do you see the outcome of it?
Yeah, like me and Adrian were saying before, I do like Notre Dame in this one, although they've seen a little lackluster last couple of games on offense. They haven't really – I think they need to stop relying so much on Sam Hartman. He's been solid for the most part this season, but they really need to rely on those 2 backs, Ines and can't remember the other guy's names for forgetting me. But I think this defense is just going to need to stop Caleb Williams because they'll be able to score more points against USC's defense, I think, than USC is going to be able to score against their defense. But yeah, I'll take Notre Dame and the 2.5.
I'm gonna piggyback off Reid. One, Notre Dame coming off, like I said, a loss. It was a perfect spot. I picked Louisville last week. It was an easy pick. Notre Dame's coming off 2 back-to-back games that just took the life out of them at home against Ohio State, and then traveling on the road to a Duke crowd who was ready to go, and they're just out of gas. You could just see it. And then Sam Hartman traditionally does not play well against Louisville. He threw 3 picks last year against Louisville. So uniforms don't change that, but give me Notre Dame to bounce back and get this W. I think they'll dominate this game. And USC, I'm just waiting for them to get exposed. Like I said, Lincoln Riley's a great coach, but you cannot just win with offense, man. It just doesn't get the job done. I don't care if it's 2041 or 2018. You got to play some type of defense.
Yeah, I'm going Notre Dame in those 2.5 points as well. I haven't been impressed with USC there. It's pretty much the Caleb Williams show. He keeps them, his greatness keeps them in a lot of these games. They're due for a loss. They've been itching for a loss, and I think they go on the road and get it here. Notre Dame coming off that loss to Louisville. They got these boys at home. And, I think Notre Dame has all the momentum in this game. USC was trying so hard to lose that game against Arizona. I ended up I stayed up late watching that game because I had money on it. So, yeah, USC's itching for a loss. I think they get it right here. Give me Notre Dame to cover.
Hey, real quick, did you guys see the play where the punt returner on Arizona, where USC was trying to push the guy into touching the ball?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often.
That was this. Oh man, there was another game that did that too. I can't remember who it was, but there was another team that tried to do the same thing in their game. I can't remember who it was though, but I saw it twice. I was like, I've never seen this happen before. It's crazy.
I kind of had to laugh a little bit. So.
Yeah. Do you think Marcus Freeman will be done after this year if they lose to USC and they lose 3 games this season?
No, I think they'll give him another year. I think he's figuring it out. I think he's actually done a pretty good job in Notre Dame. Besides the play where he didn't have 10 minutes on the field, 2 plays in a row. I mean, at least that can get off his back a little bit because Mario Cristobal totally botched that play last week. But I think Marcus will be okay. I think give him another season. I think they're good, and they're doing pretty well at recruiting as well. So be okay.
Yeah, I like him. I want him to stick around and see if he can do something.
Yeah. I couldn't believe that Miami game, man. I couldn't believe it, man. I had an 8-leg parlay, everything hit except for that.
Oh no!
Literally, yep. I was watching that game. I couldn't believe it. I was so upset. All right, you got a lot of feedback here. Let's get to some of the feedback. Got Jalil in the building. Jalil said, "What's good, fellas? Do my Nittany Lions have a good chance versus Ohio State in a couple of weeks?"
Let me answer that for you, Jalil. Absolutely. I don't even care if it's in Ohio State. Ohio State cannot run the football. Ryan Day's been trying to get them to run the football. The offensive line just looks weak. Kyle McCord is solid, but he's just not the typical Ohio State quarterback that you've seen with the C.J. Strouds and the Justin Fields over the last few years. But the defense is much improved, so that will keep them in a lot of games. But this Penn State team, I think, is the second best team in the Big Ten, and I think has a really good shot to go in there and beat Ohio State.
So does Penn State have to go to Columbus?
Yep, next week. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the biggest. I think that's the biggest privilege Michigan has in the Big Ten is that they don't have to face USC or Penn State right until they play each other. I think. Yep. So it's like they can kind of just be like, okay, well if whoever loses that, we can kind of just be like, we know what we're getting into. So I feel like that's like really really nice for them. But answering the question, I think this is going to be a really good game. The only way that OSU ends up winning this is, like Adrian said, they have to run the ball, and they can't come out so flat in the first half like they've been doing every single game. They can't, for some reason, they can't get Marvin Harrison or Ibuka ever like scoring anything. It'll be like 10-17 like every first half, and then they come out the second half and end up putting up so many points. So you playing a team like this, you can't come out flat. Playing a team that's ranked as highly as Penn State is, as good as Penn State is, they're gonna have to play hard. Going into the shoe is not easy, so that's the main thing that they have going for them at OSU. But I could see Penn State pulling it out, and I think that would make for I think it would make for a crappy end of the season for Ohio State, but it would make for a better game for Michigan Penn State.
I'll be very interested to see. I mean, not let me get too ahead. I hope they both should win this weekend, but I'll be very interested in come out next week and see what that point spread is going to be with that game.
Yeah.
I think it'll be closer to even. I think Penn State should be favored, but we'll see.
With Ohio State being at home, I think Ohio State's going to be a 2.5 point favorite or something like that. It's going to be a pick 'em, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
2.5 or 3.5 is what I'm going to call.
Yeah, I don't see more than 3 points.
I'll go 3.5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got Axe says, that Ohio State versus Penn State game can go either way. We got K Salty in the building. K Salty says they have to win this year. If Michigan doesn't win this year, this program regime is a complete failure. They have to win.
I agree.
I 100%. I 100% agree. This will be. You got to take advantage of this time to win a national championship. It's you messed it up last year. This year is probably your best chances you've had in a long, long time. And like Reid said earlier, the schedule next year, we'll get to that maybe probably another date. But that schedule is for next season is brutal. So
yeah, for sure. Jaleel, big Philly fan in the building. Axe says, hey, Jaleel, respectfully, I can't wait for the NFL to ban that ass grab rugby play.
Elbow cough. That tush put. Listen, I don't really. It doesn't bother me that Philly does that. To be honest, it's called the brotherly shove, I think. But I don't have a problem with Philly doing it. Granted, if they did it against the Lions, like win a game, I'd be pissed. But every team is able to do it. They just don't have a Jalen Hurts to do it. You know what I mean? So it's like maybe the only other guy that could possibly do it is Patrick Mahomes, possibly, but
I think Josh Allen can do it.
I was just about to say Josh Allen. Yeah,
Josh
bigger quarterback.
Any of those bigger guys, but yeah, not every team. Like Jared Goff isn't getting in there and doing it. Like even Dan Campbell said, we've done it, and Jared was dying at the bottom of the pile. So like when you got a guy like Jalen Hurts who still stands low framed to the center, and he's squatting 600 pounds plus, like he's going to be able to do it with those guys pushing him. So I mean, it's probably going to get banned because so many people are complaining about it. But if it works for them, just let it. It's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like.
Who cares? I mean, you can't. People are just mad because they can't stop it.
Yeah.
Bottom line, everybody else who's tried to do it can't do it. It's good. They're not the Eagles' offensive line, so I mean, if that's something they have an advantage, so why not use it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, yeah, sticking with the NFL, we've seen San Fran blow out the Cowboys 42-10. San Fran moves to 5-0. So, Reid, is it time to start putting Brock Purdy in the MVP conversation?
I mean, you can say that. People will say it. Do I think so? No. I think he's very much a product of his environment. If you were to put a lot of quarterbacks in that situation, I think they could be in MVP conversation. But when you have like one of the best offensive lines and you have the best left tackle in the game, and then you have Kittle, and I mean, you just saw what Kittle did. You have Debo, you have McCaffrey. McCaffrey should be in the MVP consideration at this point. Like, the team is just a team of mutants. It's like playing against it's like the Justice League against normal civilians. So should he be in the MVP conversation because of numbers? Like you can't really fault him for being on a good team. Is he a good quarterback? No, but MVP is a quarterback award, so people could see it. It's a good story. He's just Mr. Irrelevant. Like people like that. So I would say no, but I think the regular media would probably agree that he should be.
Well, just from him being on the 49ers, it gives him an automatic boost. They want him to be like Tom Brady so bad, so they're trying to find the next Tom Brady, which is just let him be his own person. Kyle Shanahan's put this franchise, him and John Lynch have put this franchise in the perfect spot. They're just loaded at every position. I mean, I think, let's just say, I've been the biggest Brock Purdy hater. I'll say this. I think he's a really good, solid quarterback. Now, is he elite? I don't think so. Can he do some things really good? Yes, absolutely. So I can't hate on him, especially when he's converting on. Excuse me, sorry guys. Especially when he's converting on 3rd and 14, 2nd and 15s. I mean, he's good, but a lot of it I think has to do with the product of his system. Like we talked about, he's got one of the best running backs in the game. You got Debo Samuel, Ayuk, you got George Kittle, arguably Trent Williams. the defense is loaded at every position from both to the best linebacker duo in football without question, and Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. Halafunga the safety. The corners are solid with Travarius Ward and Isaiah Oliver. So it's just he's in a good spot right now. And he's just doing what he's asked to do, and if he has to do a little more, he can do it. But we won't really know honestly until the Eagles and the 49ers meet. Like I said, I talked about it before, in Week 13 in Philly, and that will be a must watch game.
Yeah, the corners aren't even like really that good in San Francisco. It's just no quarterback has time to throw the ball because you have Bosa and Warner and Armstead and so many other freaks on that defense. So, they're still solid. It's just, San Francisco, it just proved to what I said, 2 weeks ago, where I didn't want to have Dallas in my top 5, but just because of the defense I had to. When they played Arizona, Dak didn't look good. Dak didn't look good in this game. Like, that offense is not good. I think Greeny or someone on ESPN said that they're treating CeeDee Lamb like a wide receiver 3 when he's supposed to be wide receiver 1, which is very true. Dak gets any sort of pressure on it, he just throws the ball up and gets intercepted. Threw 4 in this game. So it goes to show that the defense is far superior to Dallas's offense, and I don't think that you're going to win a playoff game, let alone a Super Bowl, with just a really good defense and a bottom of the league offense. They don't have that Ezekiel Elliott anymore either. Like Tony Pollard's good, but he's not like Zeke was when they were, killing with that offense.
And if real quick on the last thing on the Cowboys, because I'm happy they lose. I'm happy.
Yeah.
If they were to trade or release Dak, it would count $62 million against the cap. So he's not going anywhere, at least for not another season.
For sure. So Adrian, who would you rather have right now, Brock Purdy or Jared Goff?
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff. I think if you put Jared Goff in that San Francisco offense, he'd be doing just exactly the same thing.
I agree 100%.
Okay, got you. All right, let's get to a little more of the feedback here. Jaleel says Purdy is tough. I think he'd flourish on other teams also. So, yeah, Jaleel doesn't think he's a system guy. I think he can go other places and flourish. Let's see. Jaleel says, "Come on, Ak. It's a part of the game. If teams hate it, then stop it."
Agreed, Jaleel. Can't say it any better.
Man, the Orioles might lose tonight to the Rangers. They're down 6-0
already.
Yeah.
God, they're choking.
I know. I was really hoping for the O's, but yeah, they're down 6-0, bottom of the second.
K. Salty says he has to be in the MVP conversation at least. The team as a whole, definitely fantastic, but Jimmy G wasn't playing this well with them. Kyle Shanahan opened up his playbook way more for him.
Jimmy G took him to a Super Bowl, but I guess that doesn't really mean anything.
Hey, listen, I can say his statement's partly true. Brock Purdy's definitely a better athlete, but when it was time for Jimmy G to make plays and win big games, he did it when he was healthy.
Brock Purdy's 22 in this offense or something like that, and Jimmy G was granted, older quarterbacks can be good, but Jimmy G already had blown out a leg, and he's just older and not as athletic or mobile, so he's obviously not going to look as great. It's like Tom Brady and when he was with the Bucs with Tom Brady. Tom Brady obviously looks good, but the Bucs defense and offensive line really helped Brady or Peyton Manning in Denver, like they didn't have to move because they could just throw the ball to whoever was open, and the whole defense was just stopping everybody. So it's like guys can look good. I don't know.
So who would you rather have right now, Reid? Brock Purdy or Jimmy G?
Brock Purdy, obviously. Jimmy G looked horrible against.
Oh my goodness,
looked horrible against the Packers. So it's I guarantee you put Brock Purdy in Vegas, and you switch Jimmy G out and put him back in San Francisco. Jimmy G would be playing better in San Francisco than Brock Purdy would in Oakland. I would already just know that that's what would happen.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan's one of the best coaches in the league. And so is his play calling is unreal. So
yeah, one more here from K Salty. He says the most important part, biggest why he has to be in the conversation is he has made 0 mistakes this whole season.
Yeah, he definitely did. He made some very bad throws against the New York Giants on that Thursday night game where they dropped about 3 picks on that drive. So I mean, but he's right though. He hasn't turned the ball over. Like we talked about it, he's done exactly what Kyle Shanahan's asked him to do and executed this offense perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, if he goes to Philly and pulls that off, I think he has to be in the MVP conversation at that point. If he goes and pulls that one off, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if he goes to Philly and wins, then yeah, he. I mean, you could say that.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, yes, stick with the NFL here. Lions 42-24 win over Carolina. So Adrian, how far do you see this Lions team going?
I just was talking to somebody today about this. For me, for the season to be in the ultimate success is to win at least one playoff game, and that would mean winning a home playoff game, which would be great for the city. And anything after that, I think it's great. But you gotta get at least one playoff game. I believe right now the Lions are the third best team in the NFC right now as we speak.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree. How far do I see them going? I think they will get home field advantage, obviously, for winning the NFC North. And
by the way,
yeah, I mean, hey, you play the cards you're dealt, so I'm fine with it. I could see them probably going to. I mean, wishful thinking. I could see them going to an NFC Championship game if everything goes right. Do they need to win a playoff game? Absolutely. Do I see them going past their first playoff game? Yeah, I do. I think once all the cards fall where they lie, and if they do win the NFC North, they do get that home field. Detroit fans, everybody already knows how good Detroit fans already are, and if you get your first home field advantage in how many years in the playoffs, that the roof's going to explode off that place. It's going to be nuts. So having a guy like Ben Johnson in a situation like that, and then the way the defense is playing, just honestly, you have to just play smart football and hope everybody stays healthy. We saw Emmanuel Mosley goes down. That's a huge shot to them.
Yeah,
get rid of turf. I'm going to say it now. I'll put a call into the Fords and see if they can put grass in Ford Field. But, I mean, we just need guys like Brian Branch and everybody to stay healthy. So hopefully an NFC Champion trip, but that's wishful thinking. I do think that they will win a playoff game this year because they'll have home field advantage.
Yeah, I agree. So it's all set up for them to win a playoff game this year. You should win the division, unless barring some crazy injury. Whatever wild card team comes into Ford Field, the Lions should be favored to win that. So yeah, I think that's the ceiling, at least one playoff win. It'll be the first playoff win since 1991. 32 years.
Yeah,
they haven't won a division or a playoff game since 1991. 32 years. So that's crazy.
Was that a home field playoff game that they won in 91?
Yeah, that was at the Silver Dome in Pontiac. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Against Troy Aikman and the Cowboys.
We can keep I just have a question. I'll ask it later, but I do have a question about the NFC North.
Well, I will say real quick, I believe the Lions will be okay because they got all these injuries right now. So, and they're battling through these injuries. Brian Branch, I do think they need to add a type of somebody at the corner position, some depth somehow, some way. I think they figured out maybe get another guy on the edge to help Aiden out. But I like the way this team is fighting. They're not complaining. They're not making excuses. They're just pulling the guys out there. I think it was great to get Branch, Gibbs, St. Brown some rest in these next 4 games before the bye is crucial. I believe they can go 3-1. And they got a big Monday night game against the Oakland Raiders. I mean, Las Vegas Raiders. I'm sorry. That will be the city is going to be rocking for that one. So I think they're in prime position to be at least 7-2 going into their bye week.
I hope they don't lose a game because your Steelers just beat the Ravens and they had to play the Ravens. And I don't think that the way the Lions are playing, they better not lose to the Ravens. If they do, I'm going to be livid because that Ravens team was dropping everything left and right in that game. I do agree with Adrian. They need to be. I think they need to be active before a week from now for the trade deadline. It's 31st of October.
Let's look it up. Hold on, I'll look it up.
31st of October, I think, is the end of it. So they need to be active. They need to start calling. I mean, so what I was going to ask is, and this can go into what I was saying is, should the Minnesota Vikings have a fire sale since Justin Jefferson's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks? He's on the injured reserve. Kirk Cousins is a free agent. you have guys like Daniil Hunter and oh man, there was one other guy I can't remember. But you have guys that Harrison Barnes, you have guys that you can potentially trade away for more picks and maybe tank for Caleb Williams if you really want to. I mean, they are one of the worst teams behind the Panthers. Or you could get Drake May. I mean, you're getting a top quarterback regardless, and Kirk Cousins is a free agent after this. So do you think they should have a fire sale? And if they do and they get rid of a guy like Daniil Hunter, should the Lions call and see what it would cost?
I mean, why not? We'll find out in the next couple weeks what Minnesota's going to do. Even look at the Denver situation. They're talking about they might have a wholesale fire change on that roster. Even Patrick Surtain could be up for grabs. So, I mean, anything's on the table right now. So I think if your Lions exhaust all your options, you're trying to win now.
My only scare is that I've seen it too many times before that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell like their guys, and I just don't know if they would make a big move like that. Is the only thing that scares me. I did hear the Surtain thing. I would like to see that. If he's available, I would call it. I mean, it would probably cost you a first or two. So, I mean, I would probably do it with how good he is, and you need a lockdown corner like that. So, yeah, like you said, we'll just see how it goes. But I want to know your guys' thoughts on if the Vikings should tank.
Yeah, I definitely I'd offer a first for Surtain for sure, especially with Mosley going down with the ACL going for the season. And the Vikings, yeah, for sure, I would do that. It's just a matter of, do they want to beef the Lions up, a team in their division, and they still have to play them 2 times later in the season, haven't even played them yet. So
that is tough.
Yeah, so I mean, if they're willing to do that, to to throw the Lions that alley, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt to inquire though. Yeah, why not?
Only problem is Neil Hunter did just sign an extension, so I don't know if they choose to keep him, but I mean, we'd have to pay him regardless.
Yeah, who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, and I mean, we already traded with them to move up for to get JMO. So Brad Holmes already has some connections over there. So yeah, well, another thing I want to add about that Lions game, JMO had 2 catches for 2 yards and 1 drop. So Adrian, is that a big deal, or is it just one game? Is there no concern?
I'm starting to get a little concerned for sure. I think the Lions tried to force him to football, and he drops. Man, he's got to get it together, man. He's not good. He's got to be better. Dan Campbell said he's not worried about it, but as the season starts to go on, we start to get worried about his confidence. So this continues heading to the bye week. Then I'm gonna have this at a 10 because you could have potentially missed on your last couple first round picks from Jahmyr Gibbs to Jack Campbell, who hasn't looked great, to J-Mo. I know he's coming off injury, but it's got to figure this out, man. You got to be better because you're looking at guys coming already. Garrett Wilson last year, Chris Olave, Nico Collins is looking good finally in Houston, but Jackson Smith-Njigba's not looking good in Seattle. But I know it's hard, but he's got to figure it out, man, because if they can tap his potential, they'll be an explosive, unstoppable offense.
Yeah, when I tell you I am not worried one single bit about Jameson Williams in this last game, I'm not worried. They clearly were using David Montgomery as the main – David Montgomery and Laporta. I mean, Laporta looks like behind Travis Kelce, probably the best tight end in the league. I mean, Kittle looked good too, but I mean, Laporta he looks I think he's only dropped like 7 or 8 passes. So the guy looks like a stud. J-Mo, I think it was forced, but they tried a few times where they wanted to go downfield, and I could see Jared Goff wanting to go. He just couldn't get the ball out in time, whether it was a pass rush coming to him or it just closed up. So there was a few that he missed. They did the screenplay, and Marvin Jones just didn't decide to block on that play. So I don't know what happened there. He just kind of he went a little too far on the corner. So J-Mo probably could have gotten another 6 or 7 yards out of that play. As far as the drop goes, if you watch the replay, the ball does go through his hands. I think it was a footstep situation. If you look 2 yards in front of him, it was a linebacker barreling down at him. So maybe he got a little scared. That's something you have to get over. But, I mean, he was out for 4 weeks. He hasn't played much football. He wasn't able to be in the facility. But he had a huge block on the first play for David Montgomery to get out to the outside and score a touchdown. Ben Johnson, he had his press conference. Ben Johnson said, "No block, no rock." So I think he looks like he's fully. I think he kind of actually matured over this gambling thing, and it made him. He looked a lot better in the press conference. He looked a lot better in this game when it comes to blocking. Before he kind of looked. when he was moving around, he didn't kind of seem like he wanted to be there all that much. The celebration with Monty was huge. I don't know. I'm not worried about him. They're going to ease him in when he gets healthy, or he is healthy. But when he gets his full snap load and you get him acclimated to downfield throws, you open up that offense. I think he's going to be a huge problem for the league.
Okay. Well, yeah, we have to see what JMO does this Sunday at Tampa. So let's go right there. Lions
25 game.
Yeah, 425 flex.
Yep, 425 this Sunday in Tampa at the Buccaneers. Lions are a 3-point favorite in this game. Adrian, who do you like?
Give me Detroit Lions. Enough said.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to see. I mean, Tampa's defense is still pretty good from that Super Bowl 2 years ago or whenever Tom was there. It's all kind of blending together now, but their defense still can be pretty solid. That O-line is still good too. It's just Baker back there and not Tom anymore. So I do still think the Lions are going to win, but I don't know. Those wide receivers are pretty tough down there with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. So losing a guy, you just have to be able to cover those guys. Hopefully the safeties can help cover up, and Brian Branch is maybe back. We just need big help. And I meant to tell you, Adrian, I saw something that, well, first of all, they want to get Jet Campbell more involved, and they might try him play him at edge. So that might be interesting to see.
Yeah, let's see. I just want to see him. I know he's probably trying to figure it out, but he missed a tackle against Carolina. He just looking a little shaky, but I'll still give him some time to get it together. But we'll see. Like I said, the Tampa Bay roster is good. You got some good corners over there too with Dean, and I believe who's the
Winfield.
Yeah. So, and the D line's good. Vita Vea is always solid. You got Devin White, Levante David. So Tampa's still got some good guys on this roster, but I think the Lions will go down there and get the W. I don't trust in Baker. He's having a good start to the season though, but I think Mike Evans will be the guy. Sutton has to be on the entire game.
Yeah. I mean, these games are always dangerous. All these games that just lean one way, everybody thinks one team's going to win. I mean, the Bucks, they like you mentioned, they got a solid defense. Baker's been playing very well. They're coming off a bye week. They had a chance to rest up. I wouldn't just like the Lions in this game, man. I like the Lions to win it, but I'm unconfidently say the Lions win this game. I don't think they're a lock. Tampa can pull this off. They're capable of pulling this off. But I'm gonna go with the Lions in this one.
That's the years and years of hurt and letdown coming through right there. You can tell.
He said SOL.
Yeah. I'm fully confident that they're gonna go and win this game. No matter, I mean, that Tampa team is good, but I have full confidence they're gonna go win this game. I'm fully on board. I'm full Kool-Aided out over here. What I've seen has just looked good.
Yeah, see
I can finally be happy about my football team, Raaj and Adrian. I can finally be happy about it.
Yeah.
See, I still haven't took a sip of the Kool-Aid yet, so. This is a good team.
It's good.
I believe in them, but I haven't drank the Kool-Aid yet. I've been watching too much incompetence, too much losing for too long to just sip the Kool-Aid off. 4 or 5 games? I can't do it. I can't do it.
I just like what I see, so I'm gonna give him credit where it's due. So I'm not gonna hate him like I usually do. So I like I said, I always wanted to do well. So let's just keep it up.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's close it out with Adrian's top 5 current NFL teams. Let's close it out.
My favorite section of the week. All right. We got a couple of changes. So let's start with number 1. Number 1, you got the San Francisco 49ers, 5-0, best team in the league, most dominant team in the league right now. Number 2, you got the rival Philadelphia Eagles, 5-0, looking good. Big win on the road against Stafford and the Rams. Number 3, Kansas City Chiefs, still believe they're a good team in the league. Overcame some injuries in that game. Travis Kelce left, came back. I know it was a call and a luxurious thing that should have been at least a personal foul for taking his helmet off. Made it the game. Justin Jefferson gets hurt, but they find a way to win the game. Number 4, high-powered offense, best in the league, the Miami Dolphins. Devin Achane is just a stud. Mostert's fast. Tyreek Hill is fast. Tua threw 2 picks, even a pick 6, and they still blew out the Giants. I know they lost to Buffalo, but they'll get them again. But they'll get them in Miami. I think, like I said, best offensive team in the league. And number 5, debuting on my top 5, the Detroit Lions. Had to put them in there. Been dominating the last couple games. 4-1, dominated Carolina, dominated Green Bay. And then just on the outside looking at 6, I got the Buffalo Bills. I think they're just as good. They had a tough loss. They went over to London, lost to Jacksonville, but still believe they're candidates to be top 5 team in this league.
Okay.
I like a lot of what you have. I would take Kansas City out of the top 5 after what I saw this last week. They should have lost that game. That was a blatant pass interference on L'Jarius Sneed. Not only that, a personal foul for taking his helmet off. As a Lions fan, I have fallen victim to not getting that call either when Des Bryant ran on the field after the botched pass interference call in the playoffs with Matthew Stafford thrown into Brandon Pettigrew. So I would move Kansas City out. I would move Kansas City to 6. I would slide Miami up to 3 because that offense is amazing. Granted, their defense isn't great, but when you're putting up 70, when you're winning by 3 touchdowns, you don't need a great defense, honestly. And then I would put the Lions at 4, and I would put Buffalo at 5. I still think Buffalo is a better team than Kansas City. When it comes to the weapons, their defense is still good. They're going to get Von Miller back. They had to go and play people forget that Jacksonville spent 2 weeks in London, so they were fully acclimated, fully ready to go. Buffalo came out. I think they said that they got there on Friday. I
don't understand that.
I don't understand that. Why you wouldn't go out there and like on a fly out on Monday or Tuesday and get practicing Wednesday and get acclimated to everything. So I still think Buffalo they should have won that game. They obviously stepped on their own feet, but from what I've seen from Kansas City, they can pick it now. That doesn't mean they can't pick it up. Just their wide receivers look bad. Travis Kelce is a little banged up, but I still wouldn't put him on the outside. I don't know, for some reason, or I wouldn't put him in the top 5 because they look too shaky to me. They shouldn't have only won against Minnesota by a touchdown. Minnesota's horrible. They have no run game. They have no offensive line. They lost Justin Jefferson, and they only beat him by a touchdown. The Lions went in there and beat Kansas City at home. Everybody says no Chris Jones, no Travis Kelce. Injuries happen. We just played without 3 of our offensive weapons. So I just moved the Lions up. I did put together stats. Lions are the 6th ranked offense and defense. Kansas City's 9 in defense, 7 in offense. Miami's 1st in offense, 23rd in defense. And then you have San Francisco at 3-3 offense and defense. And then the Eagles are 10th in defense, 2nd in offense. So I think the Lions should be up there considering how well they're playing. And they have beat in 2 primetime games, going into 2 hostile environments in Arrowhead and Lambeau. No matter how bad the Packers are, I still think it's impressive. That's why I moved them up as high as
I have no qualms about what you said. The only thing I will say is Kansas City does this thing every year where Patrick Mahomes lulls his way to sleep, especially at the beginning of the season, and wins games in a close fashion or maybe games that shouldn't have won. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt just because he's Patrick Mahomes. I think he's obviously the best player in the game. So, and then with the Buffalo Bills, I think it's going to be going back and forth in the power rings between them and Miami. But don't forget, Buffalo has lost Tre'Davious White, the starting corner, to a torn Achilles, and Matt Milano. I believe it was a super serious injury. He had a leg cast on, and he's the heart and soul of that defense.
He broke his leg and hurt something in his knee, I think.
Jeez, yeah, he's one of the best linebackers in the game that no one talks about. So I think that's a huge loss for this Buffalo team. But Von Miller, like you said, was on the snap count, so I think he'll only get better through the season.
They also didn't have Rousseau either in that game.
Yeah, Shaq Lawson was out. So they're just banged up right now. But I believe it's going to go down to the wire in the division between Buffalo and Miami. But, either way, I think we couldn't go wrong with it. So I like Reid. I like Reid's top 5 as well. So,
yeah, I mean, I think Kansas City belongs in the top 5 for sure. I wouldn't put Buffalo over Kansas City right now. I don't think Kansas City is going to represent the AFC this year. I don't trust their receiving core, but I do think they're one of the top 5 best teams in the league right now. Yeah. Also, Adrian, you said number 6 you had Buffalo.
Yeah, but Buffalo at 6. Yep.
You wouldn't put Seattle ahead of Buffalo right now?
No, I don't trust Seattle's defense when it comes down to it. I know they got some young guys on the team, but no, I don't think Seattle's not the 6th best team in the league. I even think Jacksonville is better than Seattle.
I don't trust Seattle because I don't trust Geno. Geno has basically turned back into a pumpkin this season. He's still playing okay, but he's not playing like anything like he was last year. and you put Geno in a situation that's like a nightmare that's going to happen to me. Is like somehow the Seahawks are going to sneak in as a wild card team, and they're going to be the team that the Lions play, and the Lions just don't have a number against Seattle, and they'll just I don't know what I would do at that point, but I think that Seattle. No, I don't think Seattle should be. I think that like Seattle at 8 or 9 is perfectly acceptable.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, there it is. Hold on, we gotta get some more of the feedback, and then we out of here. Let's see. K Salty says, "I want to say it's a lock. If it was a cold weather place, I'd go with what Raaj is saying. So he's locking the lines in as well." Let's see. Jaleel says, "If they're not playing the Eagles, I'm rocking with the Lions." Okay.
Right.
Is it, those games are always dangerous when everybody, all the pundits, everybody takes one team. You see the crazy upset. Like we seen it last year when Lions went down to Carolina. Everybody locked the Lions in to win that game. They went down there, got ran off the field. So all I'm saying is just be careful. Tampa's coming out of a bye week. Baker's playing very well. They got a good defense. So yeah, let's just take it.
Another thing some might say, Raj, is that Jared Goff does not play well on the road. I will have you know he did win on the road in prime time in Kansas City and Lambeau. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. There it is. All right. Well, anything else you guys want to add before we get up out of here?
No, make sure you guys watch that Thursday night game because I can't wait to see Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City just steamboat the Denver Broncos. And I just want to say I'm happy for Salah that he got that win for Nathaniel Hackett because, geez, he told Sean Payton to eat some humble pie, and I was happy for that. He hasn't done it just as good as Nathaniel Hackett, so the Broncos are in shambles right now.
I do want to say a quick thing. Now, the Broncos did kind of hang in there. They only lost because Russ fumbled it and for a touchdown.
Yeah.
If the Broncos come out and it turns into a Vikings Kansas City game for Thursday night and they don't beat the brakes off of them, Kansas City can't be in the top 5, even if they win. And a 27-20 game or a 27-23 game, they pull that out and against the Broncos, they got 70 put up on them. I couldn't keep them in the top 5.
I'm still gonna keep them there just because they're coming off. It's a short week, and it's a division game as well. So those games are always tougher than your normal game would be.
The NFL schedulers fell asleep this year at scheduling games. They've been pretty bad in prime times for the most part.
Especially Thursday night. If it was me personally, I'd get rid of the Thursday night games because I don't think it's great for the players and the product is not as great. But at the end of the day, we're still gonna watch. But if I could take it away, I definitely would.
Yeah, that's all I had to add.
All right, but there it is. Good show, fellas. Good stuff. Tuesdays, 8:00 sports update. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. We up out of this thing, man. Peace.
See you next Tuesday, boys.
See y'all next Tuesday.
Peace.